Welcome into the Fantasy Football Diagnostics Podcast, where we provide you with your weekly diagnosis of everything fantasy football. Whether it's season-long leagues, dynasty, DFS, or sometimes even IDP, we got you covered all year long. Let's do it. Let's get to it. Welcome into the Fantasy Football Diagnostics Podcast. It is Saturday, November 5th. I'm your host, John June. This guy to my left, that would be Greg Penniman, calling G Money.
Yes,
What's
sir.
good, bro?
Chilling, man. Chilling. Saturday morning. Great Saturday morning. Weather's been perfect around the country. It's crazy out here. But yeah, ready for week 9. Had a solid Thursday night game. I mean, expectations. We expected what happened, but yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for Sunday.
No, absolutely. And obviously, we did not have a show on Thursday. We had some scheduling conflict. Your boys out here scruffed up in the hotel. Greg, I made the realization I'm getting old today. Um, I I sneezed and I hurt myself. Like I hurt my neck when I
Oh,
sneezed. It was crazy.
whew,
Like writhing on the
stretching over
floor,
here.
writhing on the floor in pain. I thought it was done. Thought we were gonna have to cancel this show. But your boy recovered. Like Zeke Elliott would say, I'm not soft. So,
Well, you
um,
recovered quickly, so you're not that old.
yeah,
Yeah, there you go.
there we go. But yes, it is Saturday. We are breaking down all of the games. So this will be this is like the primer to our Thanksgiving show where we
Got
break
some bye
down.
weeks in here, so that's nice.
Yeah, we got some bye weeks, so it's a shorter slate, but it's like a little primer to when we hit Thanksgiving and um, the holiday season, and we're doing something similar where we're just hitting all the games in one shot. Um,
I guess
yeah,
12 games because Thursday already happened.
exactly,
There
right.
you go. See?
13, exactly. We already had a Thursday game, so we're
Yep,
only
we're
doing
good.
12 games.
12. Yeah.
We're still getting starts to the week, and we're still gonna play some get money. So you're not getting robbed of anything here. Uh, like like I posted on Twitter from the Fantasy Football Diagnostics account at FF Diagnostics. You get one less show on the week, but you're getting twice the fun on Saturday. So what could
Double
be
the
better
content.
than
Yes, sir.
that? Yes, sir. Um, but we do got to break down the Thursday night game that did happen, and we had the Houston Texans against the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Texans actually kept this game competitive for the most part. We've been saying no team is going to force the no team has been able to force the Eagles into playing in competitive game script. And we didn't think the Texans would do that. We were thinking this game could be over by halftime, and we were questioning whether Miles Sanders could have a good day because of would he even get the opportunity. But the Texans, they played it close. It was a 14-14 game going into the half. Actually, even going into the fourth quarter, it was a 21-17 football game. So the Texans kept it close for the most part. An undermanned Texans team. Um, you know, no Brandon Cooks, no Nico Collins, so they're down their top two receivers. But Damian Pierce doesn't care about receivers who are out there or not. Damian Pierce, the running back for the Houston Texans, that man he's a grown ass man. That's
Hmm.
the best way to describe it. I used to say that about Cortland Sutton all the time, but Damian Pierce, man. I mean, Kyle Brandt does the angry run segment on Good Morning Football, and it just seems like every game Damian Pierce has an angry run.
Yeah, him and Kenneth Walker, two running backs have really been showing out with their runs, tough runs. But yeah, he's showing himself to be matchup proof at this point. We kind of knew that already being on Houston and him still having value, but in a tough matchup against a team that's just rolling, he still got close to 6 yards per carry. I think we're right over 27 carries. You love the volume there. So yeah, I mean, this man, great value this year. He's just proven himself to possibly be a first round pick next year. Yeah, Damian Pierce is balling.
Yeah, I mean, we did talk about, I know I specifically spoke about this matchup not being as bad as it might seem. Philly's been giving it up to running backs a little bit the last 3 weeks, and that continued in this matchup here. But the thing is about Pierce that we talked about leading up to the season was he needs that James Robinson type situation where he's literally gonna get all the work because we're not expecting the Houston Texans to be a good football team, and they're not. One
Yeah.
6-1, right? So that usually is not conducive to running back fantasy points unless you are a pass catcher like like a Christian McCaffrey or an Alvin Kamara
Hmm.
or an Austin Eckler, where you're gonna be game script proof because you're gonna see those targets, which going in the last, he did not have a target in this last game against Philadelphia, but going over the last 3 weeks, he had a 16% target share. He's seeing 80 plus percent of the team rush share. You talked about the 27 carries. That's predictable, right? Like those touchdowns, not like he didn't score a touchdown the other day, but he got 139 rushing yards, 13.9 PPR points, PPR standard, half PPR, whatever you want to call it, 13.9. Um, and you just look, one of the things I like to do is, either add a touchdown to a player's stat line if he didn't have one, or take it away if they did have one, because it kind of gives you an idea of the floor and the ceiling of the player,
Hmm.
right? And Damian Pierce is able to do this without scoring a touchdown. That kind of gives you an idea of like the type of floor that he has on a week to week basis. But he also add the touchdown in, and now you see the kind of upside that he could have, going forward.
Yeah. No, yeah, he's a baller. They continue to play him as such. Happy for those people that was taking him in the like third round right before draft, before first game of the season. So definitely good.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it all preseason, right? He was a value before the season started. In the eighth round where he was, eighth, ninth round where he was going at that
Yeah.
time. Um, and then when the Marlon Mack release happened, it was his ADP skyrocketed, and then it became a
Skyrocket.
risk.
Yep.
And we play a game, fantasy football is a game of probability, right? Like, you know, we had to like in order for him to hit as a third round pick, he had to do all the things that we've talked about, and he's done them. And
Hmm.
so
And more. Yeah.
and more for sure. Um, Anything else you want to talk about Thursday night football, Greg? Anything else that stuck out to you?
No, I mean the Eagles, the players we expected to show out showed out. Goddard, Miles Sanders, Hurts play well. Yeah, yeah, it was a Goddard day for sure. So he took over.
Yeah, like I said, I saw him having a top two day, like a top 2 week, and I mean it's Thursday night football. Like, what week was that? Jawan, oh yeah, Jawan, oh it was fine. Jawan
Yeah.
Johnson. I was thinking more like Travis Etienne on like London. I'm like, oh, he's gonna
Oh,
finish as like a top three running back, and he's like scores 25 PPR points, and he's like the running back 6 or 7 or whatever it
he should
was.
get
But
eight for 100 and a touchdown. Should get him top two
yeah,
for a tight
24
end.
PPR points.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
should
yeah,
put you in pretty good
yeah.
range for top two. So we'll see. Uh, I saw a tweet that is living rent free in my head on Thursday, and it was I don't remember who tweeted it, but they said I'll never forgive Miles Sanders for telling me not to draft him in fantasy. I don't know if you remember, but in the summer,
Yeah, yeah,
they,
yeah.
they asked if if they should draft him in fantasy, and he's like, oh, I don't know, it's hard to score points if I don't get the ball.
Getting the ball now, definitely. 17
Yeah.
carries. Next highest was Jalen Hurts. So yeah, he's getting that RB1 work.
And it's just so upsetting because if not for that comment, Miles Sanders, would have been a my guy for me coming into this year.
Yeah.
Because I remember telling you I was like, hey, I wanted to go Miles Sanders, but instead I went AJ Dillon. So here we are. Um, Before we move on, we got a question from Calvo. What's up, guys? Sit one, Deion Jackson, Jamal Williams, or DeAndre Swift? I'm gonna say
Uh,
Deion Jackson. That's just me personally. I like Swift is just so efficient and so talented. I know he's obviously banged up right now. I guess this would also kind of lean like, are you the favorite? Did you have a big Thursday night? Are you down big after Thursday night? Because if you need upside, I would go Swift and Williams. If you need a safe floor, you don't want the bottom falling out on you, then I would go Jackson and Williams. But my first instinct was to sit Jackson. What are your thoughts, Greg?
Yeah, I think I'm leaning towards Jackson and Swift. I mean, Jamal Williams is also a very, kind of safe as well.
Well, he's
Um,
saying sit one. I'm saying
yeah,
I would sit Jack. I'm playing Williams. He's in my like of these
yeah,
three. I'm playing him. So it really for me it comes down to Swift or Jackson.
yeah, uh, yeah. It's tough because I did really. I mean, the one game, Deion Jackson had that start. He played very well. And got a lot of work in the as far as receptions. So got 10 receptions in that game. So
The
I think
thing that
I'm,
scares me with that is Matt Ryan was the quarterback when he
yeah,
had that 10
more
receptions,
likely
right?
to check it down.
To
Yeah.
check it down. He's not moving. Sam Ellinger could move a little bit. So is he going to get the 10 receptions? That was one of the things I was, one of the thought exercises I was having yesterday as I was like updating my projections because
Mm,
like I can't project them for another 10 targets because
yeah. Yeah.
so it's tough.
Yeah. I'll probably go. I'm gonna say Jamal Williams.
You're going to sit Jamal Williams?
Yeah, I think Deion Jackson has another solid day. Like I'm
So
willing
you
to play.
you would start Deion Jackson over Jamal Williams.
Yeah, yeah. Getting the start today.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there you go, Calvo. You got two different answers. Um, let's move on. I'm not going to cover any injuries because we are literally covering every game that has not been played yet today. So, with that being said, let's just jump right into it. And the first matchup that we are going to cover today is, let me scroll up in my show sheet. The 3-4-1 Indianapolis Colts traveling to New England to take on the 4-4 New England Patriots. This game has a 39.5 point total, where the New England Patriots are 5.5 point home favorites. Their weather is okay in this game. Actually, weather's pretty much good league wide outside of maybe one game where there's expected to be some potential wind. But for in terms of injuries for Indianapolis, we already talked about it. Jonathan Taylor, he's out this week. Um, dealing with that ankle. Tony Brown, he is out with the hamstring. The cornerback, linebacker Grant Stewart, he is out with a pectoral injury. And then for New England, Devontae Parker, he's out with the knee. David Andrews, the center, he is out with a concussion. Marcus Cannon is also out, the offensive tackle, and then there's a bunch of other guys questionable. Uh, I'm going to take the under here. I'm going to take the Colts, or sorry, the Patriots to cover. I will take the Patriots to win. For Indianapolis, Michael Pittman Jr. is a wide receiver too. Uh, Alec Pierce has some wide receiver three flex upside. Saw a 20% target share last week from Sam Ellinger. So, I think that, and we saw what he could do earlier in the year. So I think he still has some upside. Deion Jackson, I do agree he's an RB. He's an RB2 for me this week. So definitely think the volume will be there for him. Uh, for New England, Ramondre Stevenson, definitely an RB1. Jacoby Myers, he's seeing fantastic volume. The matchup isn't great on paper, but like we always say, if there's a wide receiver who's in that 30% of the team targets, like I'm not afraid to go into the teeth of a bad matchup. And
Mhm.
Myers is seeing about 24%. But has had some games where he is above that 30% range. So, um, think he's a high end wide receiver too based on that. Greg, where do you stand on this game?
Yeah, I'm also gonna take the under, the Pats to cover, Pats to win. Um, on Indy side, I'm pretty much agree with you. The locks are, Michael Pittman, and Deion Jackson. I think they're, Deion Jackson being an RB2. Uh, he could have some RB1 upside if he gets that touchdown. But I think he does have a safe floor, tough matchup. But I do like him with the start here. Michael Pittman, also wide receiver too. And Alec Pierce, yeah, more low and flex. Think if you can find some other matchups like the Chargers receivers, maybe Josh Palmer or something like that. I think go ahead and start him. But on the Patriots side, Roger Stevenson's season is just going to continue to roll that train out there, man. He RB1 season is here, and Jacoby Myers has been very solid as a receiver. Finally, starting to get in the end zone and doing what he's got to do as a strong wide receiver too.
Yeah, definitely agree there. Let's move on to the next matchup here. So we got the 6-1 Buffalo Bills traveling to MetLife Stadium to take on the 5-3 New York Jets. This game has a 47.5 point total according to FanDuel Sportsbook, where the Buffalo Bills are 12.5 point road favorites in this one. Um, in terms of whether we're okay on that front, in terms of injuries, safety Jordan Poyer is out of this game with an elbow, so that means Buffalo's down. They're both their starting safeties, but they do potentially get starting cornerback Tre'Davious White back in this game. Von Miller's also questionable in this game as well. For the New York Jets, Corey Davis, wide receiver, he is out with a knee injury, so Denzel Mims will continue to take those snaps there. Greg, where are you leaning with this game here?
With this game, I'm gonna take the over. I'm gonna take the Jets to cover, but I'm gonna take the Bills to win. As far as the Bill side, your locks are Josh Allen, Devin Singletary, Stephon Diggs. I think you're gonna continue play them as studs at their matchup. Josh Allen being QB1, Devin Singletary being the RB2 category, and Diggs you already know, high end wide receiver one. Um, Gabe Davis, I think it's in. He's a boomer bust flex every week. You're expecting that from him. You know where you're gonna get the new Mike Williams out here. So continue to treat him as such. Interesting to see what Naeem Hines' role is going to be. I think I'll probably have him in like a stash kind of. I'm not out here putting him in the start, but interesting to see his usage and what happens with him and Devin Singletary. On the Jets side, uh, Garrett Wilson is really my most confident play right now. Especially with Corey Davis being out. They really don't trust a lot of other receivers right now. I think other than Garrett Wilson, he's going to lead in targets and receptions. So continue to play him as a wide receiver too. And possibly Tyler Conklin could be back because Corey Davis is out. That could help him a little bit. So I could get a little back on board with him. As a streaming tight end, if you're desperate for a guy, I think he could be a play.
Yeah, it's tough right now because speaking of the tight ends, because Mark Andrews' situation I think is a tough situation, right? Like,
Yeah.
um, do you play, and we could talk about that when we get to that game, but do you play a Tyler Conklin in this matchup, and just take those points, or do you wait for the Mark Andrews news, assuming you don't have Isaiah Likely, on your
Right.
roster? So
Right.
definitely one of those things to consider. I am taking the under here. I'm going to take the Jets to cover the 12.5, but I will take Buffalo to win. For the Buffalo side, Josh Allen, top three play. Stephon Diggs is a wide receiver one. Gabe Davis, he's got that. He's a wide receiver three, but obviously, all it takes is one catch to
Yep.
really make his day. Devin Singletary, definitely an RB2. He's the most frustrating. And it's not because of him. It's just the
This is yeah.
situation.
It's just hard. You can't. Josh Allen's that guy. He's the
But they
and
don't
it.
just don't give him the ball. Like he averages like over 5 yards a carry, and every time he
Yeah.
touches it, you're like, oh wow, it looks pretty good. And then they just like
And they
don't give
do
it
like
to
to
him.
throw. It's like, when we had, I don't know, when we were kind of hoping Clyde will always take over on the Chiefs, but the Chiefs just throw the ball. That's what they do in the
I
last
mean,
couple of years. Yeah.
The Chiefs didn't throw the ball when they had Kareem Hunt back there.
It's true.
When his rushing for 1,200 yards. Um,
They're also
they
throwing it
were
to him too.
yeah,
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Yeah.
but they don't throw it to Devin Singletary
They don't.
in Buffalo. So Garrett Wilson definitely has wide receiver one upside in this matchup. Um, Michael Carter in RB2 should see some receptions. James Robinson, I don't think that game is here yet. The Jets do
Not
go on
yet.
by. They go on by this week, so potentially an opportunity after that. And then Tyler Conklin, I think again, like we talked about, has tight end one upside. The matchup is pretty good. Buffalo over the last 3 weeks gives up the fifth most fantasy points to the tight end position. So,
Hmm.
and like we said, you asked last week, why did he go off last week, and we talked about the fact that the Jets had faced negative game script for like the first time in 3 weeks. Um, they're going to face negative game script in this game.
Yeah, they gotta
Tyler
throw the ball to
Conklin,
someone.
they're going to have to throw the football. So, Garrett Wilson, Tyler Conklin, our boy Mike Q asked Elijah Moore over under one catch. If you change that to one, if you change it to
One
one
and a
touch,
half or
if you change it to one touch, I'll take the over.
one touch. Oh, like they get a jet sweep going a little
Yeah,
bit.
just sweet. Yeah.
I'm a one catch. I think he gets one target. So I'm gonna take the under. I'm gonna take the under.
um, and then he asked Sauce versus Diggs, how many catches and yards for Diggs?
Diggs is
Diggs has many if he wants.
he does not. Yeah, it doesn't matter who's
It doesn't
covering him
matter.
because
Him
he'll
and
kick it at the line of scrimmage and then make his do some yak moves. He's too saucy if I want to say that. Yeah,
oh, yeah,
should be a good
and the
matchup
thing
though.
the
This
thing is with
Sauce Shadow though doesn't he doesn't really
Sauce
shadow.
does not really shadow. They do
Yeah,
some shadowing in some situations, but the Jets are very hush hush about when those situations are. Um, yeah, but I think that they're going to be comfortable letting because DJ Reed is also a really good corner, so they're going to be comfortable letting those guys play sides. But what I was going to say about Diggs is Diggs and Josh Allen have like this mind meld going
oh
on
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Like
No, they
you can,
don't. Yeah,
it doesn't matter. You can have
doesn't
perfect
matter.
coverage, and he's just gonna like they've run that route so many times that he's just gonna put it in the spot that the DB just can't get to it. So
Yeah, yeah.
it doesn't matter, man. You asked how many yards, how many catches. I'm gonna go
Whatever
with seven
whoever's
for 100.
Vegas is, I'll take the over. Give me all of it.
uh, 7 catches, 100 yards. That's what I'm going with.
I like that.
All right. That is all I have on this game. Let's move on to the next game here. We got the 5-3 Miami Dolphins traveling to Chicago to take on the 3-5 Chicago Bears. This game has a 44.5 point total, where the Chicago Bears are 5 point road underdog or home underdogs rather. There are winds around 15 miles per hour with gusts potentially over 20, according to Kevin Roth, who does weather analysis for Roto Grinders. He says that this should have a minor impact on the game, so it's good news. In terms of injuries, Chicago's mostly okay. Miami, wide receiver River Craycraft, he is out with an illness. Edge rusher Jalen Phillips is questionable with a quad, and then safety Eric Rowe is questionable with a hip. Um, in terms of this game here, I'm gonna take the over. I'm gonna take Miami to cover. I'm also gonna take Miami to win the game here. Um, Very easy for this game. For Chicago, Justin Fields has quarterback one upside. Darnell Mooney, wide receiver two. Khalil Herbert and David Montgomery. That is both have RB2 upside in this one. Both should see enough volume. If I had both of them, I would be more inclined to play Herbert. He's been more efficient the last few weeks, just on the year in general. For Miami, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, both wide receiver ones. Tyreek Hill is a wide receiver one. Jalen Waddle is a weekly wide receiver two that has that wide receiver one upside. And then Raheem Mostert, he's an RB2, and then Tua, has quarterback one upside pretty much every week with these weapons.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm gonna take the over. I'm gonna take the Bears to cover, but I'm gonna take Miami to win. Yeah, Bears have been playing teams a little tough this week. I mean, last couple weeks. Uh, on the Bears side, I agree with you. Just he feels has a great matchup. If he was in streaming category, I would be jumping on it. But yeah, continue to throw him out there. He's
Make
safe.
him your start of the week, Greg.
Uh, maybe we'll see. But yeah, I like his play this week for sure. Got QB1 upside. As far as the running backs too, I'm with you. Herbert's been a little more efficient, willing to play both, especially in deep leagues. But I see them both as RB2s. If whoever gets the touchdown, of course, is gonna have the better day. Uh, as far as the receivers, Darnell Mooney is a flex option. I think I'm still stash on Claypool. I kind of want to see how his usage is this week. But I'll throw out Darnell Mooney out there. It's a good matchup. They got both got good matchups on the outside. Um, and then on the Miami side, Tua, you're starting him. The receivers, Waddle and Tyreek Hill, both wide receiver ones, starting them. Mike Gesicki, low and tight end one value. You're playing him as well. And then for their running backs, I think Raheem Mostert has some RB2 value.
Yep. All right, let's move on to the next game here. Mm, We got the 3-5 Detroit, or Green Bay Packers rather,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
traveling to Detroit to take on the 1-6 Detroit Lions. This game has a 49.5 point total, where the Detroit Lions are 3.5 point road or home underdogs. Weather is okay. This game's in a dome, actually. For Detroit, DeAndre Swift back on the injury report, questionable with a shoulder and an ankle. Wide receiver Josh Reynolds, he is doubtful with a back injury. Cornerback AJ Parker, he is out with a hip. Offensive tackle Matt Nelson, out with a calf. Cornerback Ifeatu Melifuanu, out with an ankle. Cornerback Chase Lucas, out with an ankle. And then for Green Bay, Devondre Campbell, the linebacker's out. Preston Smith, the other linebacker, is questionable. Alan Lazard, he's a game time decision with a shoulder injury. Christian Watson, the wide receiver, is questionable with a concussion. Shamar Jean Charles, the corner, is out with an ankle. That is a lot of injuries in this game.
Yes, sir.
Um, in terms of the matchup here, Greg, where are you going?
I'm still take the over. I'm gonna take Detroit to cover, but I'm gonna take Green Bay to win. Detroit just knows how to play close, but knows how to lose though for sure. uh, on the Packer side, Rodgers. I think the entire offense has obviously. I love the Detroit. I mean, the attack Detroit. All fantasy managers probably do. And Rodgers got some QB1 upside here. He's got start of the week potential as well. Aaron Jones, start of the week potential at running back. The receivers as well. AJ Dillon even as well has some value in this matchup. I think he's a flex value. As far as the receivers, I do like Romeo Dobbs a little bit more. As far as the receivers right now, I think he's starting to gain the most trust from Rodgers, and I think that matters. So I'm willing to play him as a in wide receiver two play. Alan Lazard also. I think Romeo Dobbs has more upside in this matchup. Robert Tunyon also in the week of all the bye weeks and injuries and stuff is a streaming category for tight end. So yeah, I think you see probably the Packers' best offensive day and a struggling year for them. On the Lions side, uh, Jared Goff, QB2 territory, um, high in QB2 territory. As far as the running backs, if DeAndre Swift's able to go, you're playing him. Jamal Williams, if you're playing him as well. I think they both an RB2 category. I think Jamal Williams may be a little safer at this point if DeAndre Swift is still banged up. But I think you still got to play DeAndre Swift at his upside. Man's a stud. As far as the receivers, though, it's going to be interesting. I think, well, I had Josh Reynolds. I did like him coming into this week, but if he's doubtful with the back, no TJ Hawkinson. Amon-Ra St. Brown is a lock, of course. That man's going to get his 6+ receptions every week, as he always does. But Khalif Raymond then has to, I feel like, that's a name that's gotta step up and be one of those receivers. Sunday morning, Saturday morning, you're doing that. You need a receiver. I think he's an ad and a play.
Yes, sir. I was hoping you were going to say that name, Greg. I was really hoping you were. I'm taking the under, taking Detroit to cover. Like you said, Detroit they know how to play a close game, but they also know how to lose a close game. I'm going to take the Packers to cover or to win the game here, though. For Detroit, I see Jamal Williams as an RB1. I mean, if he continues to see the volume that he saw last week, if Swift is not fully healthy, I mean, then this thing could trend, right? Like as Swift's volume goes up, Williams' volume goes down. Um, so those things have to eventually stabilize. But for me, I think when you consider the red zone work as well, I gotta have Williams as an RB1. Monra St. Brown, yeah, I mean
He's
those
safe,
targets.
man. Just play him. Play him.
Yeah, I mean the targets are gonna continue to come. I mean, no Swift is banged up. No Hawkinson. I mean, that's got to mean more targets for Amon-Ra St. Brown, but it's also got to mean more targets for Khalif Raymond. We did pick him up in one of our leagues earlier this week. That was one of the first moves I made. Like you said, he's somebody who you could pick up this week and throw in your lineup just because the volume should be there. I think he's a wide receiver 3 flex option. DeAndre Swift, definitely an RB2. The upside that he has is ridiculous. So you got to have him in your lineup. And then for Green Bay, Aaron Jones definitely an RB1. If Lazard can go, he has wide receiver 2 upside. And then if Lazard can't go, then I think Dobbs has that wide receiver 2 upside, but he's also got flex appeal as well. Based on the matchup and potentially Lazard being limited here.
Yeah, totally agree.
Um, Moving on to this next matchup, the 6-1 Washington Commanders traveling to Washington to take on, or sorry, the 6-1 Minnesota Vikings traveling to Washington to take on the 4-4 Washington Commanders. This game has a 43.5 point total, where the Minnesota Vikings are 3.5 point road favorites here. Weather's okay in this game in terms of injuries for Minnesota. Defensive lineman Dalvin Tomlinson is out. Irv Smith Jr., the tight end, was added to the injured reserve. And then for Washington, J.D. McKissick, he is out with, I believe, a hip injury. Jahan Dotson is out with a hamstring. Chase Young continues to be out with that knee injury. And then linebackers David Mayo and Cole Holcomb are both out of this game as well. Um, I'm going to take the over here. I'm going to take Minnesota to cover. I'm going to take Minnesota to win. For Minnesota, Justin Jefferson, could be the wide receiver 1, this whole week. So definitely want him in your lineup. Dalvin Cook, he's an RB1. Has top 7, top 8 value this week. Kirk Cousins, top 10 quarterback in a revenge game. Don't forget that. Uh, and then T.J. Hawkinson. I mean,
Yes, sir.
he's definitely playable in his first game. They have a hole at tight end. This is a good offense that utilizes the position. So tight end's one of those positions where I'm willing to take the risk because honestly, what else are you going to do? And then for Washington, Terry McLaurin, wide receiver 2, Heineke, a quarterback 2, and then I'm going Gibson over Brian Robinson just because of the efficiency that Gibson's been more efficient on his rush attempts, but also with McKissick out, potential game script here. Washington trailing, Gibson should be utilized in the pass game, and I think get a lot of work ahead of Brian Robinson.
Yeah, it's definitely a good point. I'm gonna take I'm gonna take the under. I'm gonna take Minnesota to cover, Minnesota to win. Uh, Definitely on Minnesota side. I like Kirk Cousins matchup. I think borderline QB1. Um, Dalvin Cook RB1. You must start. Justin Jefferson, agree with you. He's a smash spot here for sure. As far as the Adam Thielen, I think he's even a low end wide receiver to play. And then as far as the receiver, TJ Hawkinson, you're putting him out there. I mean, the Vikings didn't trade for him for nothing. He's a guy you've been playing him at tight end every week. So continue to play him with some borderline tight end 1 value. And then on the Washington Commander side, Taylor Heineke, high in QB2, got some streaming value here. Uh, to agree with you with the running backs, Antonio Gibson, I think, is the safer play this week. Brian Robinson is a little more touchdown dependent right now at this point, but so AG's got that safe PPR upside. As far as the receivers, really just I love like Terry McLaurin's matchup this week. I think he continuing to roll a little bit now with Taylor Heineke as quarterback. So he's entering back into wide receiver 1 upside. And then Curtis Samuel, your wide receiver 3 floor every week. He's there. It's like the James White of wide receivers, right now. So just play him. He's safe. And yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, no, I like that one. Um, I forgot to mention Curtis Samuel. I'm Yeah, no, we're good. Let's move on to this next football game. We got the 2-6 Carolina Panthers traveling to Cincinnati to take on the 4-4 Cincinnati Bengals. This game has a 42.5 point total, where the Cincinnati Bengals are 7.5 point favorites according to FanDuel Sportsbook. I think this line actually moved a little bit in Carolina's favor, if I'm not mistaken. But in terms of the game here, Chuba Hubbard, the running back, is out with an ankle. Um, Safety Justin Burris out with a concussion. Wide receiver Rashard Higgins out with an illness. Um, and then for Cincinnati, Chase obviously we know is out. But they don't have any other uh, injuries to note. Greg, where are you at with this game here?
This game, I'm gonna take the over. I'm gonna take Carolina to cover, but I'm gonna take Cincy to win. Just barely. We kind of saw, Cincinnati. They can't really overcome, the weaknesses they've always had, which is that O line. But without Jamar Chase, it's gonna be harder to get that ball out. Carolina's defense is pretty good, so I think they do cause some havoc for Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow still QB1 territory. Joe Mixon, his matchup is great. I think he's got definitely RB1 territory starting him. T Higgins, also a great matchup playing him. Tyler Boyd, more of a low end. I think he's more of a flex value, strong flex value here. Hayden Hurst, borderline tight end one as he is every week. As long as if this offense could get going, all those guys can eat. And then on the Carolina side, yeah, Dante Foreman, I'm continuing as long as Chuba Hubbard's out, you got to continue to play him. This man's been balling, getting touchdowns, red zone opportunities, getting yards as well. So it's not just touchdown dependent. So I'm playing him as a strong RB2, some RB1 upside. And then DJ Moore, continue to I'm on board. He's the only person to throw to. Yeah, I'm with that. And continue to keep an eye on Terrace Marshall Jr. I think he's another stash this week, but I think if his momentum can continue to grow, um, as a guy that could enter flex value.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna take the under here. Gonna take Carolina to cover. I'm going to take Cincinnati to win. Like we talked about, Carolina's defense, they've been solid. I mean, they are my
Hmm.
defensive stream of the week, so definitely confident in their ability to make this a close game here. For the Carolina side, DJ Moore, top 10 option at the wide receiver position. Just, again, that volume is going to be there and that you can depend on for sure. Deontay Foreman, speaking of volume, he's going to continue to get that. So, like you said, strong RB2 with some RB1 upside if those touchdowns continue to come. For Cincinnati, Joe Mixon, RB1. This is a good run defense. Unfortunately for Joe Mixon and company. So, um, could be Joe Mixon might have to make his day, via targets and receptions and touchdowns.
Hmm.
But Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins continue to roll those guys out there as wide receiver ones, and then Hayden Hurst, continue to roll him out as a tight end one option, especially with Chase out.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's move on to this next game here. We got the 4-3 Los Angeles Chargers traveling to Atlanta to take on the 4-4 Atlanta Falcons. This game has a 49.5 point total, where the Los Angeles Chargers are 3 point favorites. Uh, this game's in the dome, so no concerns there. In terms of injuries on the Atlanta side, running back Cordero Patterson returned to practice this week,
Love it.
and as we sit here and record this episode, live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, um, or if you're listening on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Play, just make sure you hit that subscribe button, notification bell, all that cool stuff, like, comment, subscribe. But as we sit here, we record this episode. We have no news of Patterson being activated, but typically, like we do on this show, as soon as we get off of this and this episode is posted, Patterson probably will be activated. So, just be mindful of that. Be on the lookout for that. I'm kidding. I don't actually know if he will be activated or not, but just definitely something to note, especially if he was somebody that was dropped in your league. You know, because maybe you don't have IR spots or something like that. Just scoop him up. But Offensive tackle Elijah Wilkerson, he will not play in this game. He's out with a knee. AJ Terrell is out with a hamstring. Eric Harris, the safety, is questionable. And then for the Chargers, Mike Williams and Keenan Allen are both out. Mike Williams with a knee or with the ankle, Keenan Allen with a hamstring. Donald Parham, the tight end, he's also out. Linebacker Chris Rumph is out. Off, defensive lineman Jerry Tillery is out. Kicker Dustin Hopkins is out. And DeAndre Carter, the wide receiver, is questionable in this game. I'm going to take the over. I'm going to take the Chargers to cover. I'm going to take the Chargers to win. For Atlanta, Marcus Mariota has quarterback one upside by stream of the week. It, yeah, Carolina, the Chargers really have an inability to stop the run. Again, that feeds into what Mariota does well. Um, so yeah, expecting him to have a solid day here. Kyle Pitts, he's back as a tight end one. You know, his route usage is up. Um, you know, so I think you can continue to roll him out there. I'm hoping that Drake London can follow suit. You know, the target share is good. It's just the volume is not great. But he's talented.
Mhm.
Um, Probably can't play him in this game because you know I would play like a Khalif Raymond over him just because the volume. I could depend on that. But I'm hoping that he picks this up and turns it around. Caleb Huntley and Tyler Algier, they both have upside in this game. Again, the Chargers struggle as a run defense, and so um, both those guys should see enough work to potentially bring back value, assuming Cordell Patterson doesn't play. If Cordell Patterson does play, then I think you can play Patterson, and then I would stay away from these other two guys. But for the Chargers, Austin Eckler, he's got to be an RB1. Like he's got to be. I mean, no no Keenan Allen,
He
no
has
Mike
the
Williams.
RB1 upside this week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like my man should see like 25% of the
Yeah.
targets for the for
Yeah.
the for the Chargers. I think Herbert still finds a way to get it done, against this Atlanta defense. And then Joshua Palmer, I think he should he should finally come through like with a legit game here against an Atlanta defense that struggles against the pass. No AJ Terrell. And then Gerald Everett as well. I think he's got tight end one upside again with no Keenan Allen, no Mike Williams.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm gonna take the over. I'm gonna take Atlanta to cover. But I'm gonna still take the Chargers to win. Um, Yeah, on the Atlanta side, I agree with you. Mariota, stream of the week potential. He got safe floor. I think this is a week that he comes through, gives you that safe floor and more. As far as the receivers, Drake London, yeah, I think I'm still a stash for him, but I'm with you on Kyle Pitts, low and tight end one value as well. The running backs, if Cordell's there, you're obviously you're putting him in. That man's a beast. Before he got hurt, this man was having an RB1 year, a bona fide RB1 year. So if he's healthy, you're playing him. If not, the running backs that are in do have good matchups, but I see them as more low on RB2s. Algier and Caleb Huntley. Algier I think has a little more upside. Should maybe get touchdowns, but I think they're both in that RB2 category. As far as the Chargers side, this has got to be the game for Herbert, man. This has got to be the game while we see Herbert as the way we see him. I think he's been just super quiet this year. The Chargers in general have been very quiet this year, except Eckler. But yeah, he's got to come through. Eckler, RB1 must start. Again, the RB1 upside as far as his matchup this week. And then the receivers, I'm with you, Josh Palmer. He's up there with that, the Khalif Raymond, the upside receivers of this week. If you need a receiver, I think Josh Palmer is another option that is going to get you a good day. So I have him as a strong wide receiver too. DeAndre Carter, I think he has some flex value, especially if you're in a league that has return yardage because he does also return kicks. And Jared Everett, tied in one upside for sure. He should be in a smash spot here.
Yeah, definitely. This game has a ton of intrigue, a ton of upside. So
Yeah,
curious to
hopefully
see
it comes
how it
through.
plays out. Um, let's move on to this next game here. We got the 5-3 Seattle Seahawks traveling to Arizona to take on the 3-5 Arizona Cardinals. This game has a 50.5 point total where the Arizona Cardinals are 2 point favorites. In terms of injuries or in terms of weather, we're okay on that front. In terms of injuries, James Conner is expected to be a game time decision. Max Garcia is the offensive tackle is out. Christian Matthew, the linebacker, is out. Buda Baker is questionable with an ankle, and then wide receiver Marquise Goodwin for Seattle is out. Penny Hart is questionable, and Daryl Taylor is out with a groin. Um, Greg, where are you going with this matchup here?
I'm gonna take the under. I'm gonna take Jacksonville to cover and Jacksonville to win. Yeah, especially after last week, the Raiders continue to be the most disappointing team in the league. I think just their roster, and they should just be more, like, honestly. And they're just not on their side. I think the only locks for them are Josh Jacobs. Continue to play him. He's having still a great year, even after a bad week last week. It's still got to play him as a RB1. Uh, and Devontae Adams, you're playing him as a wide receiver one, but it's tough. Like, he's got to get some consistency for me to continue to see him as a bona fide wide receiver one in this offense. But you're playing him with a little concern. I think you're putting him out there on the Jacksonville side. That's it. That's all I want to start for the Raiders. On the Jacksonville side, um, Travis Etienne, he's an RB1 value. Um Trevor Lawrence has some QB1 upside, I believe, in this matchup. Vegas, Raiders defense is pretty bad. As far as the receivers, so it's tough to kind of see who's going to have that top day. I think a must start category is only maybe Christian Kirk as a good flex value, and that's about it. And then Evan Ingram, I think, is a good play at the tight end position. If Darren Waller's going, you're also playing him as well.
Yeah, sorry. So I we had a little snafu on my end. I accidentally skipped over Jacksonville and the Raiders and was talking about Arizona, and
Oh yeah,
Greg
you
broke
did.
down
Whew.
Jacksonville and Vegas. So I'll kind of obviously we heard Greg's breakdown, um, and I'll use some transparency. I missed the Jacksonville
Yeah,
Vegas
because I was
game
looking at
in
the
my
screen too. Yeah.
show sheets, and so that's where we messed up. That's where I messed up. So the 2-5 Raiders are traveling to Jacksonville to take on the 2-6 Jags. This game has a 47.5 point total, and the Raiders are 1.5 point road favorites. Now that was the game Greg just spoke to. I am in this game. I'm gonna take the over. I'm gonna take Jacksonville to cover. I'm also gonna take Jacksonville to win this game. And then on the fantasy side for Jacksonville, Travis Etienne, definitely continue to roll him out there as an RB1. Trevor Lawrence, I so
He's got
badly wanted to make Trevor Lawrence my start of the week.
he's got a
Like so,
great matchup. Great matchup.
it's a fantastic matchup, and I
Yeah.
like really so badly wanted to do it. But we'll see what happens. We still have time. Anyway, Evan Ingram, he's in a fantastic spot as well. Definitely some top six upside at the position. And then at wide receiver, Christian Kirk, he's a wide receiver two. Zay Jones, probably a wide receiver three. In terms of the Raiders side, Josh Jacobs, definitely, an RB1. Devontae Adams, he's a wide receiver one.
It's looking tough out
Um,
here, man.
it's looking really tough, for sure. Derek Carr is in another nice spot,
Oh man.
but I can't do it,
Well,
which means you
now
should
now
probably
that means, yeah,
play
that means he's playing. Yeah, he's gonna play well now. He's
him.
when you don't expect him to, that's when he comes through for you, man. He
Oh,
just doesn't need expectations right now.
no, and maybe Darren Waller coming back could help.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe, because that's if Darren Waller makes it back. If Darren Waller doesn't make it back, Foster Moreau has some intrigue as
Hmm.
well. All right, now that we've talked about that football game long enough. By the way, what happened to Hunter Renfro?
I just dropped him in my league, like
Oh,
two.
this is a little late.
Yeah, a little late. Yeah, yeah, man. I know. Man went from the safest receiver in the league last year, one of the in fantasy, to just non-existent. I mean, it's your boy probably Josh McDaniels, man. I don't know. You got
Why
it.
is he my boy? Why do I own him? Like I don't get this. Like no, me and him are
That should be
boys.
easy to get Hunter Renfro the ball, man. Like he's a great, excellent route runner. And this is said by peers of his league. Like Darren James said, he's one of the best route runners in the league. Like you could get him out the line of scrimmage. He can be a yak guy too. Like he's a great possession receiver. He's a great to move the chains. He's a good football player, man. I don't know. I don't know.
It's crazy, man. Especially when you consider Josh McDaniels' history. I'm not profiling right now, but Julian Edelman, Wes Welker, Danny Amendola, these guys that have excelled in the slot, running option
Yeah,
routes for this offense, and that's what Hunter Renfro was doing last year. Uh, yeah, it's just not a good look.
yeah, man.
Uh,
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on to this game that we were supposed to talk about before, which is the 5-3 Seattle Seahawks taking on the 3-5 Arizona Cardinals. In terms again of injuries, James Conner questionable game time decision, offensive tackle Max Garcia out, Christian Matthew linebacker out, safety Buda Baker questionable with an ankle, Marquise Goodwin the wide receiver for Seattle out with a hamstring. Penny Hart questionable with the hamstring, and Daryl Taylor out with the groin. For me, I'm going to take the over here. I'm going to take the Cards to cover. I'm going to take the Cardinals to win. For Arizona, Kyler Murray, QB1 again. I'll say it again. I'll reiterate it. DeAndre Hopkins with Kyler Murray, you get a different Kyler Murray. QB1, D Hop wide receiver one. I think Benjamin is an RB2 with or without James Conner. Yeah, I think he's earned that right by the Cardinals coaching staff. Again, this is banking on rational coaching here, which is sometimes hard to do. But um, I just think Benjamin's been so good that it's going to be hard to keep him off the field. Zach Ertz is a tight end one. Rondell Moore is a wide receiver 3 or 4. With some flex appeal. And then for Seattle, Geno Smith, a QB1, Kenneth Walker, an RB1, Tyler Lockett, and DK Metcalf, both wide receiver twos with wide receiver one upside. And then Noah Fant has tight end one upside as my stream of the week.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the over here. They got to make up for all those points they didn't get us in the last game that they faced each other. I'm gonna take the over. I'm gonna take Seattle to cover and Seattle to win. As far as Seattle side, uh, just kind of the analysis we thought was gonna happen last time. Geno Smith QB1, Kenneth Walker Jr., Kenneth Walker the third RB1, receivers DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett both have wide receiver one upside. I think this should be a shootout game. You know, as far as the receivers, um, what you call it, as far as the tight end, on the Cardinal side, Zach Ertz should be playing well. Kyler Murray playing excellent. DeAndre Hopkins, a play every time, a wide receiver one. Running backs, James Conner, Benjamin. They're gonna split their time. Salvage each other's work. I think they're both in that RB2 category. Obviously, whoever gets the touchdown, if they can, will have a better day. If I had to lean towards one, I think I would go James Conner a little bit more now.
Yeah, that's fair. That is fair. We'll just have to see how it plays out. I traded away. I know I sent you. I traded away Benjamin to acquire Jonathan Taylor,
There you go.
who is out this week. But luckily, I traded 3 players, acquired one, and I picked up Deion Jackson with my extra
There you
roster
go.
spots. So, yeah, Benjamin is somebody who like I literally like good enough that he could continue to be the guy. Um, But anyway, let's move on to this next game. The 3-4 Los Angeles Rams traveling to Tampa Bay to take on the 3-5 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This game has a 42.5 point total where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 2.5 point favorites at home. Um, in terms of weather, we're okay. In terms of injuries, head coach Sean McVay said he expects Van Jefferson and Cooper Cup to both play. um, Jake Hummel is out with a hip injury. Cam Akers has returned to the team, has practiced with the team. Sean McVay said it's a possibility that he plays this week. For Tampa Bay, Russell Gage, the wide receiver, is out with a hamstring. Offensive lineman Luke Kadecki is out. Antoine Winfield, the safety, is out with a concussion. Tight end Cam Brate is out with the neck, and cornerback Carlton Davis is questionable with a hip injury. Greg, where are you leaning with this game here?
Tough. I'm gonna take the under though. I'm gonna take Tampa to cover and Tampa to win. As far as Tampa side, who to play, really the locks are Leonard Fournette being our RB1. Mike Evans, I think, is in a great spot here as a wide receiver one, and that's about it for the Tampa Bay side. I mean, this offense is really you can't really trust a lot of pieces. Chris Godwin as well, I think, is a good option. Think some wide receiver to play for sure. On the Rams side. Also tough to trust. Can't trust either quarterback. I think in this matchup. Um, as far as the running backs for the Rams, it's hard to also trust Darrell Henderson. I think I'm gonna try to find other options. And as far as the receivers, Cooper Cup, really the only must start play for them. And Tyler Higbee has been a very very good tight end this year in fantasy. Continue to play him as a tight end one.
Yeah, I'm taking the under here. I'm going to take the Rams to cover. I'm going to take the Rams to win. This game was tough to pick. Both teams are not very good.
Yeah.
Both teams are desperate for this game. Whoever loses this game, I'm pretty confident saying their season's done.
Whew.
I
Whew.
mean, if the
Yeah, I mean,
Rams lose, they
the
go to three
NFC
and
is tough
five.
though. NFC, like you can really get in with a bad record, I think.
I mean, like Ryan Fitzpatrick said this, right? Even if the Bucks win that division, they're not going anywhere.
No, no, no. They're
Right?
first round exit for sure.
Yeah,
First round
just
exit.
knocked out, done.
Yeah.
Okay, go home now. Right? So
Them in the AFC South winner too. Both the Souths.
yeah, it's wild. Um. Anyway, so let's move on to or I got to give my fantasy analysis, I guess.
Yeah,
So
that's how much is not really in this game.
yeah, no. So Cup, he's a wide receiver one. I do think Allen Robinson is a wide receiver three. Tyler Higbee, tight end one. Staying away from this entire backfield um, on the Rams. Uh, Cam Akers, though, I will stash because he's been let go in league, so I will stash him potentially. Why are you looking at me like that, Greg?
No, yeah. Yeah, no. Yeah.
uh, for Tampa Bay, Fournette, he's an RB1. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, um, they're both wide receiver twos. There's wide receiver one upside. One of them is going to finish as a wide receiver two, potentially with wide receiver one upside. The other one's going to finish as a wide receiver three with wide receiver two upside. Um, Brady's just been so bad that it's like, what does it matter? But anyway, Brady, he's a QB2. Continue to stash Rashad White, the
Yeah.
running back. Leonard Fournette has never played he's never played all 100% of his games in an NFL season. Um, so the
Still
Rashad White
rolling.
is still rolling. The Rashad
Still
White
rolling.
opportunity's got to come soon.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
it'll come definitely during league winning time, like
yeah,
week 16, 17, 18, around there.
championship
Yeah.
week, something like that.
Championship. Yep, yep.
Yeah. Cade Otton definitely has some value this week with Cam Brate out. So
Yeah, yeah,
um
kid on, yeah.
yo, how'd you one bad week and you forgot about your boy? That's kind of crazy, man. Kind of crazy.
Paying attention to Tyler Higbee, man. That's all.
Okay, got it, got it. All right, let's enough of that game. Let's move on to this next game. The 5-2 Tennessee Titans traveling to Kansas City to take on the 5-2 Kansas City Chiefs. This game has a 46.5 point total, where the Kansas City Chiefs are 12.5 point favorites at home. I'm going to in this game here, in terms of weather, we're okay. In terms of injuries, tight end Jody Fortson, he's out with a quad slash illness. For Tennessee, Jeffrey Simmons is questionable. Um, Ryan Tannehill, he's limited all week with an ankle injury. He's also questionable. Safety Amani Hooker, he is out with a shoulder injury. Um, I'm going to take the over here. I'm going to take the Chiefs to cover the 12 and a half. I'm going to take the Chiefs to win. Um, Arrowhead Monday night or Sunday night rather. Um, that place is going to be crazy. So yeah, for Kansas City, Mahomes, he's a QB1, probably the QB1 on the week. Juju, a wide receiver one. Travis Kelsey, probably going to finish as the tight end one or two, depending on what happens with Goddard or between him and Goddard. Pacheco after the bye week, it's the bye week. He's
Word.
got the
Oh,
starting
oh
job
man.
for the
Oh
bye
man.
week.
Oh
I'm
man.
just, I'm just saying. Can't can't play Kadarius Tony. Not in the first game. But for Tennessee, Derrick Henry, he's an RB1. Robert Woods has to have some kind of upside in this game. Wide
Nah,
receivers can
man.
really flex. I mean,
No.
they're not gonna be able to run the football
Him and Hunter
repeatedly.
Renfro, man, have been like Robert Woods is also like you could use him in any way. His man succeeded through every situation, man. Like, gotta give him the ball.
Yeah, I think that they have no choice but to get him the ball in this game, right? Like, you're not playing Houston. You can't just hand it to Derrick Henry, 32 times or whatever it was. You're 12 and a half point underdogs on the road against Patrick Mahomes. Like you're not gonna go in there and throw the ball 15 times. Like it's not gonna happen. So uh, Robert Woods has to have some kind of upside in this game. But other than that, I'm out on Tennessee.
I'm gonna take the under. I'm gonna take the Chiefs to cover and the Chiefs to win. On the Chiefs side, Patty, you already know, QB1 every week as he always is. I'm gonna not stay away from Clyde, but I see him more as an RB3. Um, as far as the receivers, I do like Juju this week. He's in a great spot receiver wise. I think he's got strong wide receiver to play. MVS is a more of a flex guy, low end flex. Travis Kelsey though, you're boomer bust flex for MVS. Travis Kelsey tight end one as he is every week. As far as the Tennessee Titans, Derrick Henry is my only must start, and honestly, that's really it. Like I can't trust Robert Woods just yet. I think he's definitely in flex conversation, but I think those upside receivers we've been talking about, Josh Palmer, Khalif Raymond, I think you can go with them.
Yeah, no, I would definitely go Palmer over Woods. Khalif Raymond is tough. It's close because Khalif Raymond's like what second on his team in targets.
Yeah.
Woods could be first. This is literally just like desperation. I'm in a two flex league and I was looking to pick him up. Was just waiting for some things to clear up, and then he got scooped up. So uh, yeah, so uh, now I'm looking to pick up Khalif Raymond. So I guess instinctually I was Woods over Raymond. So um, yeah. Next up, we've got the 5-3 Baltimore Ravens traveling to New Orleans to take on the 3-5 New Orleans Saints. This game has a 48.5 point total. Takes place on Monday Night Football, 8:15 p.m., where the New Orleans Saints, or Baltimore Ravens rather, are 2.5 point road favorites. This game is played in a dome. In terms of injuries for Baltimore, Rashad Bateman, the wide receiver, was added to the injured reserve for a season-ending injury, so he
Tough.
definitely a tough blow there. Gus Edwards, he was a DNP all week with a hamstring injury. Mark Andrews, he's been a DNP all week with a shoulder and an ankle. Demarcus Robinson, limited participant with a groin. Marcus Peters, questionable. And then for New Orleans, Michael Thomas, the wide receiver, was added to injured reserve with what is a season-ending toe injury. Jarvis Landry put in back-to-back limited practices. He's questionable with an ankle, so he could potentially make his return to action. And then Adam Troutman, he's been limited with an ankle as well. Greg, where are you leaning with this game?
This game, I'm also gonna take the under. I'm gonna take Baltimore to cover, Baltimore to win. On the road, it's gonna be tough, but I think they get it done. As far as Baltimore side, Lamar Jackson, QB1, as he is every week. Um, if Gus Edwards isn't able to go, I do like Kenyon Drake a little bit. I think he's in that RB2 category. I think you can play him, especially because he's going to get used around the red zone. So he's got some good touchdown upside. Um, as far as the receivers or pass catchers, I want to say if Mark Andrews can go, starting him. If he can't go, I say likely, and that's it. That's really who I can trust. Honestly, it's a must start. Um, and then on the Saints side, uh, Alvin Kamara been an absolute beast last couple of weeks. Andy Dalton, Alvin Kamara, just like you're saying, Kyler Murray with DeAndre Hopkins, Alvin Kamara with Andy Dalton has been absolutely money. Play him as a RB1, and as far as Chris Olave, strong wide receiver two value. Taysom Hill, same analysis every week. You're throwing him out there to get that touchdown, and he seems like he's he's just getting it every week. The one touchdown, and he's good. And yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, almost every week there. I'm going to take the under. I'm going to take Baltimore to cover, taking Baltimore to win. So me and you are lockstep there. For the Baltimore side, Lamar definitely QB1. Gus Edwards, Kenyon Drake, I see them as RB2, RB3 respectively. So if Gus Edwards can't go, Kenyon Drake's definitely an RB3 in my rankings. Mark Andrews, he's a tight end one. If he can go, I think you can play Isaiah Likely, with or without Mark Andrews. Even if Mark Andrews can go, like how limited will he be or not be? Also, we talked about this with before we knew Bateman was out for the year, but with Bateman out, this team is looking for pass catchers. You got to get your best 11 on the field, and when Isaiah Likely's got to be one of the best 11, in that regards. And so, uh, Devin Duvernay definitely has some increased upside without Bateman for sure, but it seems like he's more of like he's not that true number one receiver. He's more of an auxiliary player, gadget type player. Maybe we'll see Deshaun Jackson active. Not really like looking for that from a fantasy perspective, but just interesting football story. But for New Orleans, like you said, Alvin Kamara with Andy Dalton. I mean, he's Andy Dalton's not afraid to check the ball down, so gotta
Oh
love that
man,
there.
no
uh,
man.
Chris Olave, again, wide receiver one, option, probably wide receiver two. And that's really it. Taysom Hill, he'll continue to be that emergency glass for me at the tight end position. Again, if I can get a guy off the waiver wire, like an Evan Ingram, might even be willing to play a Tyler Conklin if I need upside from that position. Um, but Taysom Hill, had I think 61 rushing yards last week. So got it done that way. Um, but yeah, his day really comes when he gets that touchdown.
Yeah, for sure. That helps today. Yeah, man. Kamara's this last 4 weeks, this man's on pace to get like 100, over 100 receptions. Like he's fully back.
Yeah,
Crazy.
he's a man is back. You were saying it, man. He was one of the top values coming into the draft season, man, and he's hitting right now.
Thank you, Andy Dawn.
Let's move on to those starts of the week. At
Yes,
Monday
sir.
time, Greg, your quarterback start of the week this week.
I was saying, this has got to be the week that we find out, not find out, but we realize Justin Herbert is Justin Herbert. Got to go with him going against Atlanta. I mean, last 2 weeks they're chucking it up. They threw the ball 57 times. In the previous week before the bye, 51 times. So he's still getting the pass attempts at a high rate. I think this is more of an efficient day. So he gets those pass attempts up, but they turn into close to a 300-yard day, couple touchdowns. I think he gets a monster day, gets that top 5 day we want.
Yes, sir. I definitely like this one. I'm gonna go with Kirk Cousins going up against Washington. This is a pure this is a pure revenge game narrative for me.
Hmm.
Um, the longtime Washington quarterback who Washington wouldn't pay, and now look at them going through quarterback purgatory. We even most recently had the head coach saying the reason why the gap in the division is so large between the Washington Commanders and the rest of the teams is because of the quarterback position. Uh, Sending out draft picks to get Carson Wentz, had Ryan Fitzpatrick. Now they're going through the Heineke situation after dealing with Alex Smith. Um, all he had to do was pay Kirk Cousins. But anyway,
I had to when it was real cheap back then.
when it was cheap, but they
Yeah,
didn't want to do it. Man. Anyways, Washington allows 17 and a half fantasy points to the quarterback position on the season. Kirk Cousins averages 18.1 on the year. I really like Justin Jefferson to have a big day as well. So this should feed into Kirk Cousins having a good day.
absolutely.
Greg, that running back start of the week, man. What do you got?
Yeah, man. I gotta get some Detroit action this week. Gotta attack them. Gotta go with Aaron Jones versus Detroit. Last week got a season high in carries. Last week 20. And also got 24 touches total because he got four receptions as well. 143 yards, which is also a season high. Ran really well. I think they continue with that game plan against a team that they should dominate as far as offensively. Um, Rush defense is bad. Pass defense is bad, and it's gonna start with Aaron Jones. So he gets it done.
Yeah, I like this one a lot. You've targeted Detroit a lot. I've been targeting Denver for my running back starts for the week. Unfortunately, they're on bye, so I had to go in a different direction. I'll go with Ramondre Stevenson going
Ooh.
up against Indianapolis. This Stevenson has just been so good over the last 3 weeks. He's been the running back five in PPR points per game, averaging more than 23 PPR points during that span. He's seeing fantastic volume. Gets a matchup here versus Indianapolis. Running back position. Stevenson favored at home and is honestly game script proof when you consider has a 21% target share over the last 3 weeks as well. So definitely fire up from Andre Stevenson.
Yeah, man. One of my favorite plays this year in fantasy and in football is just continuing to roll.
Definitely, man. I mean, not a lot of 6 foot, 240 pound people that could do some of the things that Ramondre Stevenson does on a football field. Uh, Greg, your wide receiver started the week this week.
I'm gonna go with Mike Evans going against the Rams. The Rams have just been pretty bad defensively in the secondary this year because Jalen Ramsey doesn't really shadow their number one receiver. He's moved around a lot. Secondary being banged up and just getting eaten. So I think Mike Evans has a good day. He's usually the guy that's gonna lead the team in targets. The last 2 weeks, 15 targets. Last week, 11. And then just the chemistry is not as there as it used to be, but they're really just one play away from him having a huge day. I mean, he had 6 for 123 last week. Previous week, he almost got 100 yards and dropped a 70-yard touchdown. So I think this is, one play, one connection is going to make this day even more of a blow up game.
Yeah, no, I like this one. Mike Evans definitely has that week winning upside every week he's out there. So um, definitely a good one. I'm gonna go with Garrett Wilson against
Ooh, let's
Buffalo.
go. Oh
Yeah,
man. Okay.
yeah. In a week with all these buys, we definitely need some help in our lineups. So I'm going with Garrett Wilson, who with Corey Davis out with a knee and Elijah Moore basically on punishment, he's assumed the number one receiver role for the Jets, and talented rookie didn't disappoint last week. It was actually in what was actually a tougher matchup on paper. This time he gets a Bills defense that allows the 10th most PPR points to the wide receiver position over these last 2 weeks. And again, we're going to get some negative game script on, in this game here, being 12 and a half point underdogs. Um, Buffalo secondary is banged up. So I definitely like Wilson to have a nice day.
Yeah, somehow got dropped in one of our leagues, so able to scoop him up, and very happy about that. Yeah, man, I always love Gary Wilson.
Definitely love Garrett Wilson. Uh, Greg, your tight end start of the week this week.
Got to go with Justin Herbert. I mean, not Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert's tight end, Gerald Everett, going against Atlanta. Just the matchup is great for him. A guy that's been used as far as target share. He's getting a high percentage. Last 2 weeks, 7 and 9 respectively, target wise. So he's going to get the ball. And with those receivers out, we talked about Mike Williams being out, Keenan Allen being out. Not a lot of people to throw to, and I think Herbert's going to have a monster day. Gerald Everett's going to be a big part of that.
Yeah, I like this one. As soon as we got the news Mike Williams was going to be out, and Keenan Allen was going to be out, it was pretty evident that Austin Eckler, Gerald Everett, were going to be the primary beneficiaries of those absences. My tight end start of the week. This is kind of me. I said I wanted to go with Trevor Lawrence, but I couldn't really do it. This is kind of me going with Trevor Lawrence. I'm going with Evan Ingram
Here we go.
going up against Las Vegas. He's the tight end 6 over the last 3 weeks. Gets a matchup here against a terrible Las Vegas defense.
Terrible.
Evan Ingram has an 18% target share over the last 3 weeks, averaging 12 and a half yards per reception. In a game that, again, where I'd like Trevor Lawrence to have a big day. So I think Ingram is going to be a huge part of that.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, man. Now it's time for the most competitive segment that we have on our show.
Change,
Some
change,
get
change.
money.
Yes, sir.
Greg blew me out of the water last week. So I was, I'm coming back to exact revenge. I think
Back for
we're
blood.
even. I think we're even if I'm not mistaken. What week are we in? We're in week 9, so that means that there's been 4 weeks. So yeah, I believe we're
Four,
four and
four.
four. I could confirm. Yep, 4 and 4. And it is an odd week, so Greg gets the first pick, and he's going to ruin my lineup. So Greg, tell the people how you are going to kill my lineup right now.
Oh, well, I'm gonna get my running back start of the week right now. I'm gonna take Aaron Jones, 7,800. Uh, yes, sir. Slide him in there against Detroit.
Okay, that makes me feel a little bit better. I thought you
I
were
had
going
to,
to be struck.
I had to afford some things, so I had to move some stuff
I
around on
had
that
to
one.
afford some things, he said.
Well, nothing really
Okay,
crazy.
all right, we'll find out. We'll find out. Um, Man, I need to lock up this flex right now because if I don't lock up this flex, like I can't do everything else I'm trying to do.
Mm,
So I got to get Deion Jackson in here, 5K.
okay, okay. Uh, I'm gonna take my wide receiver one. Actually, yeah, my RB2. I'm gonna take Deontay Foreman, 7,300. Slide him in there.
Okay. Um, for my wide receiver one, I'm going to take Justin Jefferson, 9K.
Like it. My wide receiver one. I'm gonna take T Higgins, 8,000.
Okay.
Slide him in.
My running back one, I'm going to take Austin Eckler, 9,400.
Like it for sure. My wide receiver two. I'm gonna take Terry McLaurin, 7,200.
Oh
Going
God,
against
I was gonna take him, and I
going
didn't
against
take him. I was
Minnesota.
just like, you can't afford him, right? Like,
That
okay, okay, that's fine. I'll recover. Um, well, I'm gonna take my wide receiver start of the week right now. Garrett Wilson, 5,800.
like it. Uh, at tight end, I'm gonna take your tight end start of the week. Put Evan Ingham in there. That's 5,200. I really wanted Jared Everett, but he's too expensive. He's 5,800. And I know I have Hayden Hurst, but he's a good play as well. You know, I'm gonna
Oh
take Evan
man,
Ingham. Slide him in there. 5,200, yo. It's a good price.
the all of the expletives that I'm sending in your direction right now, Greg, that you just
You thought it was
keep.
coming early, but now yeah, all the back end plays, those
I don't
value
like
plays.
I don't like this. Anyway, well, that kind of just kills what I was gonna do. Oh my god. Ugh, no, I'm not gonna change it. Um, at my running back two, I'm gonna take Ramondre Stevenson, 8K.
Mm.
My running back start of the week.
At my wide receiver three, I'm gonna take Amon Ross St. Brown, 7,100. Yeah, going against Green Bay.
This guy, man. I'm so angry. Uh, uh,
I mean, I had him in there before you said Titans. That made me feel more confident. If it makes you feel any better.
I'm gonna go with my tight end. Actually, I'm gonna go DJ Moore at my third wide receiver
Like
slot.
it. At my flex, I'm gonna take Romeo Dobbs, 6,100, going against Detroit.
Um, at quarterback, going uh, uh, tight end. I'm going with Noah Fant. My tight end stream of the week 4,800.
I had a little money. Was gonna go take Herbert at my quarterback for my start of the week, but I'm gonna just go ahead. I got a little more money. I'm gonna take Tua, 8,000, going against Chicago.
My defense. I'm going to take my defensive stream of the week and the Carolina Panthers 3,300.
That's tough.
Why
Definitely,
did you?
yeah, definitely. That makes a lot of budget spacing for them right there.
Uh-huh.
Oh man. I guess I gotta take. Oh man, that's brutal. Really trapped right now. Really trapped. Oh man. I guess I'm gonna have to
Chicago,
take
man.
the.
Or Detroit.
Yeah, I know. That's it. Oh, we'll have to take Detroit. 3,200. Oh, going against Green Bay. Oh man. Oh,
At my quarterback, I'm gonna take
should have stuck with
Trevor
Herbert.
Trevor Lawrence, 6,800.
There you go.
But I can't stack him with Evan Ingram anymore, so it's is what it is. All right, Greg, why don't you read off your lineup?
Tua Tagovailoa, 8,000 at quarterback position. Aaron Jones, my RB1 is 7,800. Deontay Foreman, RB2 at 7,300. T. Higgins, my wide receiver one, 8,000. Terry McLaurin, wide receiver two is 7,200. Monra St. Brown, 7,100. Evan Ingram at the tight end position, 5,200. Romeo Dobbs in the flex, 6,100. And my defense, the Detroit Lions, 3,200. Going against the Green Bay Packers, who I have like two in the lineup already. In my own lineup.
oh,
But
oh, man.
I couldn't go with Chicago. I mean, I have Tua starting at quarterback, so whatever.
Well, I guess in that front, some game theory that I'll share with the listeners is that if I'm forced to have to play defense against my players, I'd much rather play them against my quarterback
Mm.
because sacks that could potentially
Doesn't hurt
lose
the
you.
quarterback really.
Doesn't hurt the quarterback really. Interceptions they don't hurt you or help you. That's a push.
Yeah.
Um, but in order for Dobbs scores a touchdown, Aaron Jones scores a touchdown, that's kind of bad for your
It's
defense,
cool. That'd be the only touchdowns they score. 14 points. There you go.
14 points. There you go.
Yeah.
My lineup, I have Trevor Lawrence at my quarterback, 6,800. Austin Eckler at running back, 9,400. Ramondre Stevenson as my RB2, 8,000. Justin Jefferson as my wide receiver one for 9,000. Um, DJ Moore, my wide receiver two, 7,000. Garrett Wilson, my wide receiver three, 5,800. Noah Fant, my tight end, my tight end stream of the week, 4,800. Deion Jackson as my flex for 5,000, and then Carolina Panthers defense for 3,300.
There you go.
All right, well it's a big week. We'll see. I mean, pretty much every week's going to be a big week because it seems that nobody can get more than a two game lead on this. So, um, everyone, we hope that you enjoy Thursday night football. I hope you enjoy all these slated games. Hope that you get to and again, spend time with family, all that fun stuff. Just a quick announcement. Probably should have done this at the beginning of the show, but we'll do it now. We will not have an episode on Monday. We will instead have an episode on Tuesday. And we'll break down everything that happened. And hopefully we can get you some waiver wire suggestions before you put your claims in. Yeah, have a good one, everybody. We thank you for tapping in and enjoying the Saturday morning with us. Greg, anything else you want to say to the people before we close it out?
Man, yeah, enjoy this week for sure. Yes, sir.
All right, y'all. Have a good one, and we'll talk to y'all on Tuesday. Have a good one, everybody, and we're out. Peace.
Yeah.